Alright guys, so let's move on to introduction to Python lists. This is the most important part of data science into Python course. So if I want to define a list, so a list is a collection of values in Python. They are written like this. Let me show you how they are written. They are written into square brackets. Let's like 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4. They are written like this. Lists are written in Python. They are written like this. Okay, so this is somewhat looks like your list. So basically we denote a list with square brackets like this. For example, if I want to take uh, let me give you one example here. Let's say okay, so let's say L equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3. This is a list in which your L is holding values 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so L is holding your values 1, 2 and 3. So now printing a list works just like printing any other variable, and you can tell that it is a list from the square brackets in your output. Okay, so let me give you one example here. A equals to 10, B equals to, let's say, again 10, but this is a list in square brackets. So print A, and in same, let's say print B. So guys, your print A command will print a variable integer 10, and print B will print a list. Let's see what it prints. Okay, so first output is your simple 10, and second is the 10 inside your list. This is how lists are defined. If I want to give one more example here, let's say L equals to 6 simple. Let me just note it down. Alright, let's take these much values and print L. Now I want to print L. So it will print, the output will be written somewhat like this. Alright, so it will be in square brackets. So basically a list is a collection of values, and sometimes you can also, in some or the other books you can see the values are also known as elements. So you can also call it elements. Alright, so let's move on. Lists are very useful anytime you have a collection of values. Like example, you might keep a list of names instead of having a separate variable for each other. Like if you want to store the name of the countries or ages of your friends, you can store them inside a list. Okay, so they are very useful in such cases. Also, lists don't have to hold the same type of values. You can mix and match. For example, uh, like if this is one list, let's say 9 comma 8 comma 7. This is one type of list, and this is another type of list. Let's say 9 8 7. You can also define like this. You can also define like this: 9 8 and 7. You can define like this. Also you can say, let simple thing, 7. So these are all your, like, how you can define a list. Let me quote. What happened? Alright, so let me just add comment to it. Okay, sorry. So so if you have values stored in variables, you can add those values to a list using variable name. How to do that? Let me show you. if a equals to 1 and b equals to 2, so let's say I want to store these values, these variables. So I'll say L equals to A comma B. It is that simple, unlike Java. And if you want to print it, you just have to say print L, and you can see those values are stored, those variables are stored in a list, and it is somewhat like this. Okay, so let's move on. Now next is, let's like, since list can be stored in variables, that means list can hold themselves as well. That's the important part. Like if we have a as a list of uh, 2 comma 4, and let's say b can have let's say b is 1 comma 2 comma a. All right, so now if I print b, let's see what happens. So it is stored list inside a list, and you can do that as well. So here a was your 2 comma 4, and since we have placed that list inside a list, the output will look somewhat like this. Okay, so one practice, just a simple practice question here. If I have a 1 comma 2, I have b as 2 comma 3, I have c as 3 comma 4, and let's say d is a comma b comma c. This is my d. I'm assigning d as this. So if I say print d, it will like take all the lists inside a main list d. So the parent list is your d here, and sub list or the child list are a, b, c inside it. Okay, so this is just the introduction to list, how to do that.